seems like a simple jump up to the pull-up bar, pull your chin over the bar, and you're done. But a lot of people struggle with pull-ups a lot, and it's not always because of lack of strength. Sometimes it's just because of lack of technique and that brain to muscle connection. So I'm going to go through the whole process of how we like to teach pull-ups here at the gym. So we're actually going to start on the floor. So we're going to get on the floor, lay on the floor here. We're going to get our hands and feet to the ceiling. And in this motion, I want to suction my back to the floor. So I'm going to suck my belly button through the floor so that my back is there. There's no space. Hands and toes are pointed to the ceiling. I'm going to slowly lower them, keeping that back suction to the floor. And I'm going to come back so a little bit, just a couple inches off the ground. As I hold this long enough, these muscles here start to quiver. But this is our hollow body position, and this is the position we're going to hang from on the bar. So now that we've established that good hollow body position, the first thing we're going to do is just jump up, grab that bar, and get in that hollow body position. So make sure that you're finding a bar that you have to jump up to so that your feet can't touch. And then you go ahead and get in that hollow body position, and that's how you're going to hang. Okay? So we want to make sure that we're keeping that good position. If you think about a raw spaghetti noodle, okay, and you've got that, you move one end and the other end moves. You want to keep everything nice and tight so that that energy, that power, that strength can transfer through our body. If you think about a cooked noodle, you move one end, the other end doesn't do anything. So that's why I want to keep that tight body position. The next thing we want to do is learn to activate our lats. That's a very difficult thing for a lot of people. If you're standing here and I tell you to squeeze your rib cage, most people can do that. You can figure out where your lats are. As soon as I tell you to put your hands over your head and squeeze your rib cage, people have a little bit harder time with that. So once you jump up onto that bar, make sure that your thumbs are wrapped around. We don't want to have our thumbs over, because at some point we're going to make these movements into kipping movements, and we don't want to lose that bar. So always wrap your thumb around. Then when you're on that barbell, I want you to think about bringing your thumbs to the wall behind you. You can think about bringing that barbell, bending that barbell in half, or even bringing those elbows together a little bit. So you're up on that barbell, you're in your hollow body position, and then you're going to go ahead and do one of those things, and you're going to engage your lats, which are going to bring you up that first inch or two. Okay? From there, we need to get that chin over the bar. So what we do from there, think about bringing your elbows down to your hips, think about bringing your chest up to that bar, keeping that nice body position. I don't want you to kink your neck to get up at the top. So we're going to do all those same things, and this time, hopefully we're going to get our chin over that bar in a good body position. So we're here, chin over the bar, and we're going to lower in that same position. If you watch from the back side, you can watch those lats engage and those muscles pull. So here, and that's that good pull-up position that we have. I want to talk to you a little bit today about how we modify pull-ups and why we don't use bands here at the gym. So we spend a lot of time with the gymnastics coach each week. And if you've ever been into a gymnastics gym, you'll never see bands anywhere. They are modifying everything by working on how to alleviate body weight, not compromising from the range of motion, and you'll never see a band, you'll never see them using them for anything like that. We use bands here for resistance work, for mobility, stuff like that. We never use them for assistance. So when you have a band, you wrap it around there, you put your foot in, most people cross their legs, you end up being in a bad position for any of the movements you're doing, especially pull-ups. We don't want to be in this position, we want to be in a nice hollow body position. The other problem that we have is that if we know that we're using the bands, we end up activating our lower body, using our legs for that movement, rather than concentrating on the upper body and the muscles that we need to actually get that pull-up. The third problem is that if you think about it, you're in a band, it's at the bottom, you're stretched all the way out, you have the most help at the bottom. It's got that slingshot effect, so from the bottom, it shoots you up to the top. Most people don't have a problem with that first inch or two. That's not where they need the help. They need that help at the top to get their chin over that last inch or two. And if you're slingshotting yourself up there, you're never getting a chance to engage those muscles and use them to pull up to work on that. So we find that bands aren't actually helping people get pull-ups, is actually more of a detriment. So the way that we're gonna modify pull-ups when they come into a workout, we have two different ways depending on the athlete's ability and the purpose of the pull-up in the workout. So if it's a strength thing that we're working on, we want to work on engaging our lats and getting that full range of motion, we're going to do ring rows. So it's a horizontal pull versus a vertical pull, but it's going to use all the same muscles, and at least then we can practice engaging our lats. We can get our lats stronger so that we can transition into that pull-up bar and get those pull-ups. So the rings are going to be set at midsection height. You can start with your feet underneath the rings. You're going to go back. You're in that tight body position, the plank, or in that hollow body. You're going to go ahead, engage those lats, pull the rings to your armpits, and come back down that same way. So engage the lats, pull the armpits. The really nice thing about the rings is that if you're tired in a workout, or if you're just not there yet, you can step back and make that movement a little bit easier for you. Okay, right? You're taking less body weight off the more vertical that you are. If you need to make them a little bit more challenging, you can take less body weight off and move those feet forward. And you can come down here and that same thing, engage the lats, pull up. The other nice thing about rings versus bars is that the rings will spin, so it will help you kind of engage the muscles to get there, whereas if you have that pull up, it's only on that bar. The other thing that we can do in small amounts is jumping pull-ups. Now we don't want to do these in high reps because we don't want to work too much on that negative, but what we can do is set ourselves up so that we're about wrist height on that bar. You're going to grab that barbell, you're going to get underneath in that power position, a partial squat. You're going to use your legs to jump up, engage your arms, get that chin over the bar. The really important thing with this is when you do that, when you come down, you just let gravity bring you down. We don't want to do a negative and fight that downward motion. So we're here, we're going to come up, and we're just going to come down. So there, like that, okay? We don't want to get up here and then fight it. We don't want to do a negative if we're doing jumping pull-ups in a workout. Another way that we can modify pull-ups in a workout or when we're working on them for strength outside of gym time is we can raise the rings a little bit, and this way we still can alleviate some of our body weight by using our legs, but we can work on, instead of having that horizontal pulling motion from that ring row, we can start to work on that vertical pulling motion that we're going to need. So you're going to set the rings up so that if you sit directly underneath them, your arms are extended, okay? The really important part here is that your butt, your hips are directly underneath the rings. You're not sitting forward or back. So your hips underneath the ring. You can use your feet flat, you can have them here, but the concept is the same. You're going to engage your lats, pull up, and then you can pull back down. So that gets those lats going, all those same muscles, and now you get to work on that vertical pulling rather than that horizontal pulling of the ring dips.